After finding out my CEO husband has telepathy, I started making wishes. Ugh, Chanel's new bags are gorgeous, just a bit pricey. I'd love a waterfront mansion. When will I ever get to live the life where I can go to a club and have 10 hot guys waiting on me? A clenched jaw voice sounded next to my ear. Keep dreaming. It's not happening. My marriage to Larry was arranged by our families. It was a union of interests, completely devoid of affection. We both followed the unspoken rules for a model high society couple. We lived separate lives and never asked about each other's schedules. One thing I was satisfied with, though, was that Larry was a workaholic with a clean private life. No mistresses or side pieces to give me a headache. I thought we'd continue like this, staying in our own lanes. But recently, I've noticed he's been acting a little strange. Larry is a very calm person. His face usually has only one expression. And that is no expression at all. But a few days ago, I actually saw confusion, shock, speechlessness, and disgust on his face all at once. It was 10 o'clock at night, and Larry, the workaholic, was still in bed, typing away on his laptop. I had finished my nightly routine and was lying in bed reading a novel perfect for late night hours. They're kissing. As expected of spicy FIC, it gets right to the point. The sound of typing next to me suddenly stopped. I looked up. Larry frowned, looking confused. Were you just talking? Nope, I'm busy reading the news, I said, putting my phone down and asking softly, what's wrong? Larry shook his head. Nothing, I must have been hearing things. Hearing things at his age. Probably from staring at a computer all day. I complained silently in my head, but my voice became even more gentle. You're probably just too tired. You should really get more rest. Larry gave me a speechless look, grunted in agreement, and silently closed his laptop. Go for it, grab him, possess him, and then torture him. Ah. First this way, then that way. So twisted, I love it. Ahem. Larry coughed lightly, looking a bit awkward. You should get to sleep early, and read less news. It's not good for you. I agreed, then turned over and continued my late-night reading session. What was that look? Awkward with a hint of disgust, and a dash of contempt in the disgust? You'd think he found out I was reading erotica. Not only had his expressions become more varied, but I also noticed Larry has been much more considerate lately. My friend Amy was telling me how Kevin Song, the guy I refused to marry back in the day, is now known as a model husband in our circle. He drops a fortune on his wife at auctions and showers her with mansions and jewelry. I shot a sideways glance at Larry, who was absorbed in a financial report, and sighed to myself. Ugh. If I knew then what I know now, I would have married Kevin. Better than being married to a robot. Thinking about the mansions and jewels that got away, I couldn't help but sigh again. Seeing Larry sit there, completely still, just made me feel even more resentful. Perhaps my stare was too intense, because Larry turned his head. Is something wrong? I noticed you keep sighing. No, I just made a bad purchase and I'm regretting it, I said through gritted teeth. I didn't notice his fingers, holding the report, had turned white. Larry looked at me, hesitating before he spoke. There's an auction tonight. If there's anything you want, I can bring it back for you. Ask, what's the point of asking? If you ask, of course I'll say no. If you really want to give me something, can't you just buy it? What do you want? I want everything, can you bring it all back? There's nothing I particularly want. You know I'm not very materialistic, I said, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear with a demure smile. Larry's expression was a little strange, the corner of his mouth twitching. Well, I'm heading out then. Don't wait up for me for dinner. That's hilarious, as if I ever wait for you. Okay, I'll have the housekeeper save you a plate. I don't know if it was my imagination, but it felt like he was practically fleeing. A jade bracelet, carved enamel earrings, a ruby necklace, a cat's eye ring. One by one, exquisitely packaged jewelry boxes were brought in as assistants filed in orderly. For a moment, I felt like royalty being showered with tribute. I couldn't buy everything, but I got about 70% of the lots. The rest weren't very nice, so I didn't bid on them. Larry looked up at me, a hint of caution in his eyes. Next time, I'll definitely get everything for you next time. I barely heard him, lost in a state of pure joy. This one would look amazing with that long black dress. That one would go with my Chanel-style jacket. This one has too many diamonds for everyday wear. I'll save it for a gala. Kevin's song couldn't outbid me. He went home empty-handed tonight. Larry's voice had a barely perceptible note of delight. Of course not. How can Kevin even compare to my husband? He's not fit to touch a single hair on your head. I praised him without even looking up, my words completely perfunctory. That night, I was unusually cooperative and let our fooling around go on a little longer. Utterly exhausted and drifting off to sleep, my mind suddenly had a moment of clarity. Wait, why would Larry suddenly bring me so many items from an auction? He used to just give me a credit card, too lazy to pick things out himself. And why did he suddenly bring up Kevin? I thought he disliked him. Thinking back on his behavior these past few days, one thing after another, how did he suddenly get so perceptive? It was as if he had telepathy. Looking at Larry sleeping beside me, a terrifying thought took root in my mind. He doesn't actually have telepathy, does he? Verifying this was actually simple. All I had to do was think about things Larry would absolutely never do for me. If he did them, it would be solid proof that he could read my mind. At 8 in the morning, we were sitting at the dining table for breakfast as usual. I listlessly stirred the porridge in my bowl and started to consciously complain in my head. The steamed dumplings are so far away. What, are you afraid I'll actually grab one? My phone alarm went off. I silenced it and got up to plug my phone in. When I returned, Larry's head was still down, as if the hustle and bustle of the world had nothing to do with him. Until I saw the steamed dumplings had magically appeared right in front of me. I suppressed my shock, looked up at Larry, and decided to go big. Eating the same thing every day is so boring. My husband is looking kind of handsome today. Larry's hand, holding his chopsticks, paused for a second. The next moment, his ears turned bright red. Look at that amazing bone structure, that high-bridged nose, you could slide down it. And those sexy, thin lips, they make me want to. Ahem. Seeing Larry practically burying his head in his bowl, I chuckled. Honey, why aren't you eating? I'm full. I'm heading to the office. He scrambled to his feet, fumbling as he made for the door. So boring. Other women's husbands give them good morning kisses, French kisses, stuff like that. Me? I get nothing. Larry's steps faltered. He seemed to be struggling with something, and when he turned back around, his face was beet red. As if he'd made up his mind, he walked firmly towards me. I tried to calm my racing heart. No way, you're not actually going to do it. A light touch landed on my cheek, a warm sensation spreading through me. Honey, I'm off to work. After Larry left, I sat there stunned for a long time. Honestly, that was the first time Larry had ever kissed me. During the day. Honey? I couldn't imagine a word like that coming from Larry's mouth. We'd been married for a year. We basically had zero communication outside of the bedroom, and when we did need to talk, we'd just get straight to the point, not even using each other's names. Did he take the wrong medicine or something? No, that's not the point. He actually has telepathy. How? This isn't fair, why don't I have it? God, I'm never calling you God again, because you clearly don't see me as one of your own. After my bitter internal rant, I suddenly realized something horrifying. During all those times Larry had those weird expressions, what was I doing? Reading smutty novels, mentally complaining about how cheap Larry was. Oh my God. What have I done? My image as a cool, elegant, well-bred socialite. Overwhelming regret and a delayed wave of embarrassment washed over me. From now on, I'd never have to worry about a place to live, because I could build a fairy tale castle with all the cringing I was doing. In our social circle, I was known as a lady. Kind, gentle, knowledgeable, poised, and graceful. A big reason my arranged date with Larry worked out was because his mother liked me and approved of me as her daughter-in-law. Because in terms of family status, my father Stephen's crumbling company was on a completely different level than his family's. This wasn't so much a marriage alliance as it was a charity case. For me, this marriage was more like a transaction. He needed a respectable wife, and I needed help breaking away from the Smiths. If it weren't for his family's influence, Stephen would never have so easily relinquished my mother's shares. Mia, darling, Daddy is just doing what's best for you. You're still young, what if you get scammed? It's not like I'd steal the shares your mother left you, right? Besides, you're about to marry Larry, you won't be short on money. If you have any good investment opportunities, don't forget to have Larry include your dad, Stephen said, rubbing his hands together with a sycophantic grin. I held up a hand. Stop. Don't call me Mia, it makes me sick. I'm more used to you calling me your wicked daughter. Also, those shares were left to me by my mother. If you want to give them to Lisa and her daughter, have them go to hell and kneel before my mom to apologize. Then I'll think about it. Actually, no, you'd have to go down there too. Stephen's face turned ugly. You ungrateful. One word, are you giving them to me or not? If not, I'll go to the Gu family empty-handed and tell them you stole the dowry my mother left me. We'll see then if you still have a chance at that partnership you're so desperate for. Stephen thought he could use the Gu family as a stepping stone to greater things. Turns out, the first thing I said to Larry after we got married was, don't give Stephen a single thing. I don't acknowledge him as my father. In exchange for being freed from that disgusting family, I had planned on playing the part of a virtuous wife for the rest of my life. I never expected him to suddenly develop telepathy out of nowhere. With my persona shattered, I was so depressed I only ate half a bowl of rice for dinner. Whatever, someone else can play the role of the perfect wife. When Larry came back, I was lying in bed, pretending to be sick. Honestly, I didn't really want to see him right now. The thought of him getting a live feed of my every thought was incredibly annoying. The bedroom door opened softly. Larry walked to the bedside and placed a warm hand on my forehead. No fever. Are you feeling unwell somewhere? He murmured. I kept my eyes closed, pretending to be asleep, trying my best not to think about anything. The third time he stroked my hair, I couldn't take it anymore. Stop touching it, you're making my hair greasy. I felt Larry's hand freeze and inwardly cursed. Busted. Why are you home so early? I rubbed my eyes, feigning that I had just woken up. I canceled my plans for the cocktail party, thought I'd come home early. Look at you, Mr. Capable. Why come home so early? Oops. I couldn't hold it back. The room was dark, and in the faint moonlight, I thought I saw Larry's face stiffen. He forced a smile. Why are you in bed so early today? None of your business. Damn it. Are you not feeling well? I'm feeling great, just not so great seeing you. This is bad. Before Larry could process it, I pushed him away. Can you leave for a bit? I'm on my period and not in a good mood. It's over, I can't keep up the act at all. Normally, I'm a world-class debater, proud and confident. But faced with a mind reader, my fate is sealed. In the dark room, I stared motionless at my screen. Quora question. What do I do if I discover my husband can read minds? Online, waiting, very urgent. Just start chanting Buddhist scriptures in your head, see if he can still read anything. This is a great thing. Silently recite SAT prep books. A year later, you'll both get into the Ivy League. Help me, not a single serious answer. Mia, can I come in? I quickly shut off my phone, dove under the covers, and mumbled, come in. Larry carefully carried in a bowl, his serious expression looking rather amusing. I made you some sweet soup with an egg. I followed an online recipe, not sure if it's any good, he said, scratching his head awkwardly. Under the dark red sweet broth was a perfectly round egg, the white firm and the yolk intact. It looked pretty good. It was sweet to the taste. I looked up and saw Larry watching me with bright eyes, his fluffy black hair falling over his brow like a puppy waiting for praise. I couldn't resist ruffling his hair. Not bad. He leaned his head closer. Honey, you can keep petting me. My hair doesn't get greasy that fast. You little punk, you better not be throwing shade. My phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had answered my question. If it were me, I'd just make wishes in my head every day for him to buy me bags. Right, how did I not think of that? I opened Amazon and started searching like a maniac. Ugh, Chanel's new bags are gorgeous, just a bit pricey. Honey, I was inspecting the mall today and saw Chanel had some new bags. I wasn't sure which one you'd like, so I bought them all. Rows of bags were lined up on the floor. A classic black shoulder bag, a pink diamond quilted chain bag, a small pearl chain waist bag, a nude sheepskin flap bag. I jumped onto Larry like a koala and planted a big smooch on his cheek. Honey, I love you. Easy there. Larry steadied my waist, his expression cool and unreadable. He turned to his assistant and said in a low voice, "Get all of LV's new arrivals tomorrow. I want to buy clothes, but I don't want to go out." The next day, the manager from Dior showed up at our door. "Hello, Ms. Chen. Mr. Gu asked us to bring over all the new spring arrivals." Racks upon racks of clothes filled the living room, instantly turning it into a private shopping mall. I had achieved the freedom of at-home shopping. I'd love a waterfront mansion. Today is the 389th day since our wedding. I picked out a villa as a gift, and it just happens to be on the water. In a fantastic mood, I lay on the sofa, stroking the property deed. Looking at Larry working on his laptop in the living room, he seemed more and more handsome. "Larry, you're so hot." The man's hands paused on the keyboard for a split second, and then his ears turned bright red. "Heh, can't take a little teasing at all." Life continued in this blissfully wealthy and uneventful way. Until this morning, my father, Stephen, called me to say he was going bankrupt. I was overcome with joy, so I quickly got ready and took Larry with me to go watch the show. The heavens do have eyes. Back then, less than 2 weeks after my mom passed away, Stephen couldn't wait to move Lisa and her daughter into our home. He and my mom had been married for 5 years, but his other daughter, Lily, was 6 years old. Lisa forced me into the storage room on the first floor. I ate their leftovers and wore Lily's hand-me-downs. I was always dirty, like a little beggar. She said her precious Lily had lived in the shadows for 6 years, and now it was my turn. My nightmare only ended when my maternal grandparents came and took me away. "Larry, my boy, let me introduce you. This is my younger daughter, Lily. She's the sweetest, most well-behaved girl, nothing like my rebellious older daughter. I'm sure you'll love her," Stephen said, enthusiastically introducing Lily. Lisa and Lily stood behind him, painting a picture of a happy family. Younger daughter. A younger daughter who's a year older than the older daughter. As a child, I couldn't understand why after my mother left, my father disappeared too. Now, looking at Stephen's fawning expression, I suddenly felt a sense of closure. He had always been like this, lecherous and useless, greedy and opportunistic. He just hid it well when he was with my mother. Lily was in a white dress, her long hair draped over her chest, looking pure and fragile. "Hello, Mr. Gu. You can just call me Lily. I've admired you for a long time, and I'm so happy to finally meet you." Lily leaned delicately towards Larry, her face slightly flushed. "You really live up to your name, you little schemer. You sure know how to admire someone, admiring someone else's husband." Larry pulled me back a step, his face a mask of disbelief. "She called me Mr. Gu? Is she really younger than me?" The wrinkles on her face could trap flies. I thought the three of them were the same generation. Lily looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, her outstretched hand frozen in mid-air. Stephen froze for a second. Larry, you love to joke. Larry pretended not to hear and tugged on my arm, whining, honey, we have to take good care of our skin when we get home. We can't end up like her. At the dinner table, Stephen still wouldn't give up. You know, if Lily hadn't been so young back then, you two would have been a much better match. My face darkened, but before I could say anything, Lily's eyes filled with tears as she sobbed, Mia, please don't blame Larry. I just like him so much. And you know, a man of his status is bound to have more than one woman. Are you living in the 18th century? I was about to speak, but Larry beat me to it. Are you brain dead? Don't drag me into your delusions. A faithful man like me only has room in his heart, and his life, for his wife. What a family of psychos. The other three people at the table looked pale but didn't dare to argue. I suddenly realized the benefit of Larry's telepathy. Hearing those words from my mouth was one thing, but hearing them from his was devastatingly effective. I sized up this scheming family, my gaze shifting to Lily as I said coolly, you shouldn't have worn white today. You should have worn pink. Lily glared at me with hatred. I continued slowly, in ancient times, concubines wore pink when they entered the household. Lisa looked as if I had struck a nerve. Mia Chen, what are you trying to say? Isn't that what's happening? With this whole setup, I thought you were trying to offer Lily up as a concubine, I said coldly. Oh, I forgot, they don't use the word concubine anymore. It's just, the other woman. I think your mother is very familiar with that term. Lisa was so angry her face turned white. Mia, I know you're unhappy with me, but to think such malicious things about me and your father is just too cruel. Mr. Gu, you be the judge. Is someone with such a twisted mind really fit to be the wife of the family? You people really didn't hear a word I said, did you? You keep slandering and insulting my wife. I heard the Chin Corporation is on the verge of bankruptcy. Larry tapped his fingers on the table, his voice devoid of emotion. How about I just do you a favor and acquire it? Stephen started to panic, crying his eyes out at me. Mia, yes, Daddy wasn't good to you in the past, but this time I'm in real trouble. You can't just stand by and watch me fail. That damn Kevin Song tricked me into investing in that AI project of his. It turned out to be a shell corporation. All my money is gone, and the company's capital chain is broken, Stephen wailed, his eyes red. Mia, the Chin Corporation was your mother's life's work too. Honestly, Stephen had been a phony his whole life, but for once, I believed his tears were real. After all, he was about to be homeless. How much do you need? I asked flatly. Not much, just 50 million, Stephen said, perking up, thinking I had softened. Not much, I echoed with a small, unreadable laugh. It really isn't much, but I'm not giving you a single penny. Let me be honest with you. The only reason I came today was to watch you all burn. I grabbed Larry and made to leave. Lily blocked our way, her tone filled with resentment. It's only 50 million. It's nothing to you. Are you really going to watch the Chin Corporation go bankrupt? Mia, don't be so selfish. I started being passive-aggressive. Oh dear, what to do? I'm just such a selfish person. I love money, the more the better. I wouldn't lend you a single dime, what can I do? You forced our hand. Stephen shut the door, his tone menacing. Honey, I feel a little hot, Larry said, grabbing my hand and nuzzling against it like a puppy, his face flushed. What did you give him? Just a little something to spice things up, sister. After tonight, I will replace you as Larry's wife. I then realized Lily wasn't acting right either, her eyes glazed over. Are you all insane? When Larry wakes up, you'll go bankrupt even faster. Lisa sneered at me. So what if he wakes up? By then, Lily will be his woman. Would he still have the heart to do anything? The Chin family will be fine, Lily will be fine. But you'll end up a cast-off wife, just like your mother. Your mother couldn't beat me, and you're no match for me either. I looked at this family of criminals in disbelief. Has everyone in this house lost their minds? Seriously, where do you get this confidence? A washed-up old man ruined by booze and women, a woman as thin as a stick, and a drugged-up idiot who's out of her mind think you can control us? Do you think my bodyguards outside are just for show? I pulled out my phone and gave the order. The bodyguards outside rushed in, smashing the Smiths' door to pieces. Watching the three of them get subdued in an instant, I clicked my tongue. Originally, you were just going bankrupt. Now, you're going to jail. With the help of the bodyguards, I took the opportunity during the chaos to slap Lisa and Lily a dozen times and land a dozen kicks on Stephen. After the police took them away, I rushed Larry to the hospital. It was an aphrodisiac, thankfully not a very strong one. While keeping an eye on Larry, I instructed my people to start acquiring the remaining shares of the Chin Corporation. I wanted this company to be mine. Wouldn't it be spectacular when this family gets out of jail in 6 months only to find they have nothing left? When Larry woke up, he asked plaintively, "Honey, why didn't you help me?" I instantly understood and my face grew hot. In your dreams. What's with that look? Are you disappointed? I should have just left you to your own devices and let you. After I cussed him out, Larry said pitifully, "I meant, why didn't you help me call the nurse to take out the 4? The bag was empty." I then noticed the 4 line was starting to back up with blood and hurriedly pressed the call button for the nurse. "You didn't finish your sentence," I grumbled. Larry's face was pale, and he looked aggrieved. "You didn't let me finish." "It's a little hot in here, I'm going to step out for a bit," I said, practically fleeing the room. I could hear Larry's low chuckle from inside the room. So embarrassing. I thought Larry and I had progressed from an arranged marriage of strangers to a proper love after marriage story. But lately, he's been acting strange again. I suspect he's seeing someone else. Starting last week, Larry has looked completely drained every single day. He comes home in the early hours of the morning and just collapses into bed. He's always on his phone, texting someone and smiling to himself like an idiot. When I ask him what he's been busy with, he just stammers and avoids eye contact, looking completely guilty. What's even more suspicious is that he's being ridiculously nice to me now. If the bags and clothes from before were things I tricked out of him using his telepathy, then what's with all these property deeds now? He's given me 8 property deeds in 5 days. This is highly illogical. Usually, when a man is suddenly incredibly nice to his wife, it's highly probable that he's cheating. Out of guilt. The more I thought about it, the more certain I was. He must be cheating. Coming to this conclusion, I was furious and wanted to confront Larry on the spot. But then my eyes fell on the brand new property deed on the table, and a better idea came to me. As long as I'm in the game, I might as well play. As long as I'm Larry's wife for one more day, I'm going to get one more day's worth of money. I started making wishes like crazy in my head, planning to milk his guilt for all it was worth. I'd love a luxury penthouse. There's an island over in the Pacific that looks really nice. I can't even imagine how happy I'd be if I had my own winery. Every morning, there was a new surprise on the table, but the exhaustion on Larry's face grew heavier. I had a feeling he wouldn't be able to put up with me for much longer. As my personal fortune grew, I even started looking forward to the day Larry would ask for a divorce. Then, wouldn't I be living the happy life of a rich, beautiful, husband-free woman? I could go to the club and hire as many hot guys as I wanted, from cute puppies to bad boy wolves, ha ha ha. Luckily, I didn't have to wait too long. Larry finally snapped. That afternoon, he didn't go to the office. He took a file folder from his assistant, his expression serious. "We need to talk." I glanced at the folder and instantly understood. It was finally time. "How long have we been married?" Larry asked, his eyes lowered, his voice deep. I got it. This is usually the part where we're supposed to reminisce about the past. I thought for a moment and said vaguely. "Almost a year, I think." "It's been 1 year and 52 days, Larry said, staring at me and enunciating every word. I nodded in agreement. Larry looked at me, hurt. His dark hair fell across his forehead, making him look quite sad. His voice was hoarse. Mia, after being married for so long, you still treat me like a stranger. Huh? What? I ran into Kevin's song today. He told me everything. The whole scheme with the AI project to bankrupt the Smiths, you two did it together. If you wanted to take down the Smiths, why didn't you tell me? It's not like it's that hard. You and Kevin are barely acquaintances, yet you went to him for help. I'm your husband, and I knew nothing. You'd rather ask an outsider for help than come to me. Mia, have you ever, for a single moment, considered me one of your own? Larry looked wounded, his eyes filled with unconcealable disappointment. Let's get a divorce. His words hit me like a ton of bricks, and I had blurted out divorce before I knew it. The moment the word left my mouth, Larry's eyes instantly turned red. Divorce. How could you say that word so easily? I just asked you a couple of questions, and you want a divorce. Fine, I won't ask any more. Have you ever even liked me, not even a little bit? I will never agree to a divorce. Unless a court orders me to be awarded to you in the settlement. When I came to my senses, I was confused. Didn't you come here today to talk about divorce? How could I? The day Larry, got married, I never even considered the word divorce. Then isn't this the divorce agreement? I pointed to the file folder. What divorce agreement? That's my entire net worth. Larry said, nearly choking with anger. Property transfer deeds, stock transfer agreements, proof of asset transfers. I gasped. Larry, are you insane? Isn't this me handing over financial control to you? Are you sure this is handing over financial control and not just leaving yourself with nothing? Besides, who in an arranged business marriage hands over all their assets? The words had barely left my mouth when I felt the air freeze for a second. My mouth is too fast, I thought, annoyed with myself. Larry looked up and stared at me, his eyes dark. Mia, ours is not an arranged business marriage. For me, it was love at first sight. In that moment, it felt like my heart skipped a beat. When I came back to reality, an indefinable feeling was spreading through my heart. I felt a sweet warmth inside, but I still mumbled, why give it all to me? Didn't you say you like money, the more the better? He actually remembered something I had said offhandedly to my father at the Chin house. What about you, then? I like you, the more the better. Hold on, has this guy been taking lessons? How did he suddenly get so smooth? Hearing Larry's direct confession of love brought a flush to my face. I started flipping through the documents to hide it. So this is what you've been so busy with lately? Yeah, what else could it be? I thought you were cheating on me. I didn't say a word, but I knew he heard me. Larry's face turned completely black, his voice tight with clenched teeth. How is that possible? I would throw myself in front of a train before I'd ever cheat. You were never home, and you looked like all the life had been sucked out of you. It's perfectly normal for me to have my suspicions. I wasn't home because I was working overtime. I was drained because I was exhausted from work, Larry said, his voice full of grievance. As the CEO, I'm the first one in and the last one out every day. The security guard's dog gets to go home earlier than me. You don't even care about me, and you accuse me of cheating? After handing over my finances, I was worried I wouldn't have money to buy you bags, so every morning I woke up thinking about how many millions I needed to earn that day. I work so hard, and I still get falsely accused. I was wrong. If I apologize fast enough, Larry's complaints can't catch up to me. Larry's words caught in his throat. He pouted and said nothing. After a moment, the more he thought about it, the more wronged he felt, and he couldn't help but complain. How could you possibly think I was cheating? Mia, what on earth goes on in your head? Don't you already know what I'm thinking? My brain is clearly trailing behind my mouth. With a mouth this fast, I should just become a stand-up comedian. After letting it slip again and again, I was now completely unfazed. Larry stared at me blankly. You knew? There was no hiding it anymore. I looked at Larry and admitted defeat. Okay, I admit it. I already know you have telepathy. How did you know? I thought I hid it so well. When the wishes I make at night come true by the next morning, any normal person would get suspicious, okay? I said, exasperated. He suddenly smiled at me. Then I'll admit it too. I already knew that you knew I have telepathy. When? I thought I hid it so well. He smiled slyly. You forgot, I have telepathy. Then if you knew I was making wishes on purpose, why did you still grant all my unreasonable requests? Larry disagreed. They weren't unreasonable requests. The fact that you wanted them was the best reason of all. Fair enough. So, I guess we've cleared up our misunderstanding, I said, getting up to go back to the room. We still haven't cleared up the part about you treating me like an outsider, Larry's plaintive voice followed me. I don't see you as an outsider. I worked with Kevin Song because he also wanted to take down the Smiths. We just happened to have the same goal, I explained patiently. What beef could he possibly have with the Smiths? You know that drug Lily gave you? It turns out, Kevin was their first test subject. Larry was silent after hearing this. After a long moment, he finally said, Kevin Song has a lot of self-control. I put the documents back into the folder, my heart a mix of emotions. I had gained a fortune, but I had also found love. What a shame, I've lost my chance to be a single, rich woman. My boy toys, my bad boys. There will be no bad boys, and no boy toys. If you keep thinking about it, there's going to be one crazy dog right here. I was just thinking. Don't take it seriously. Ugh, when will I ever get to live the life where I can go to a club and hire 10 hot guys? Larry said through gritted teeth. Keep dreaming. It's not happening. Larry, no more using your telepathy. Then you're not allowed to think about any more bad boys or boy toys. But I want to see their abs. It's not like I don't have any. But you never let me see them. I'll show you tonight. It's a deal. And no turning off the lights. I'm suddenly thinking that being honest wasn't such a great idea. I never thought Larry, a cool and aloof CEO, could be this clingy. Before, in our huge living room, he'd be at his desk on one end, and I'd be on the sofa on the other, watching TV. Now, we have to squeeze together on one half of the same sofa. Could you move over? That whole side is empty. Larry, his eyes glued to his screen, absent-mindedly shifted over a single millimeter. I was fuming. I turned to glare at him, but then I got distracted. The man wore gold-rimmed glasses perched on his high-bridged nose, his thin lips slightly parted. Below his sexy Adam's apple was a delicate collarbone, and below the collarbone. Stop thinking, he'll know. I shook my head, trying to banish the dirty thoughts, only to see Larry looking at me with amusement. I stuck my neck out and said stubbornly, I was just appreciating. I wasn't thinking of doing anything to you. Larry stared at me for 2 seconds, then said meaningfully, well, I'm thinking of doing something to you. Larry's hand wrapped around my waist, and he leaned in to kiss me. I never realized you were this clingy before, Larry, I panted. I used to have some social anxiety. I didn't dare talk to you. You don't dare talk to your own wife? That's some serious social anxiety. When he didn't reply, I comforted him. It's okay. You just have social anxiety. I'm the one experiencing social death every day from you reading my mind. Good news, Larry's telepathy is gone. Bad news, it came to me. Honey, my telepathy is gone. You seem a little disappointed. No, how could I be? My wife's privacy is now guaranteed. I couldn't be happier. Larry forced a smile. Sob, I'm so sad, now I won't know what my wife is thinking. My wife's thoughts are so hard to guess. How am I supposed to comfort her when we argue? I don't dare talk back when I'm being scolded, and I'm not good at comforting people. I can't imagine how miserable my life will be without telepathy. Where did my telepathy go? I watched Larry's calm exterior and his frantic inner monologue, and I fell into deep thought. So this is what it's like to be two-faced. Did I look this ridiculous to Larry before? I've discovered this telepathy has no benefits whatsoever, aside from hurting my ears and tormenting my soul. My wife is so cute, she looks like a little bunny when she's just woken up. I really want to pinch her cheeks, but I don't dare. I'll do it secretly after she falls asleep. Her lips are so soft, I really want to kiss them, and this part here is so soft too. I couldn't take it anymore. Larry, think of something you can actually write down. Larry's extra. I'm a CEO. I also have social anxiety. I usually don't say more than 3 sentences a day, and I go out of my way to avoid people. My mother said I was destined to be a bachelor for life. But she was wrong. That day in the coffee shop, I ordered a standard CEO's Americano, which was bitterer than my life. I looked up, and a girl in a bunny costume sat down next to me. She had a long face, apparently having lost a game with her friend and was now doing a dare. 3 o'clock, a cool, handsome guy drinking an Americano. Go get his number, her friend said, gloating. No way, that's so cringe. Next time you lose, I'm going to make you wear an Ultraman costume and ask for someone's number. She grumbled, frowning. I swallowed the bitterness on my tongue and gripped my coffee cup, forgetting the heat. Hey handsome, can I get your number? Sure. I fumbled for my phone, and then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I didn't have WhatsApp. Her eyes were sparkling as she stared at me, looking exactly like a little bunny waiting for a carrot. I managed to choke out, I don't have it, but I can download it right now. She gave me a look that said, I get it. Sorry to bother you. She quickly ran off, going over to pat her friend. This is all your fault, he has a girlfriend. So embarrassing. I was filled with regret, clutching my cup so hard that I didn't even notice the coffee spilling out. For the next week, I went to that coffee shop every day. I ordered cup after cup, sitting from dawn till dusk. But I never saw her. My mother arranged a blind date for me. I was about to refuse when I saw that the picture was her. It was truly a light at the end of the tunnel. I dressed myself immaculately, rehearsing what I would say over and over. I wanted to tell her I didn't have a girlfriend, and that I had downloaded WhatsApp now. But I never expected that she wouldn't recognize me. She was poised and eloquent, but also a little distant. I was a bit disappointed, but mostly excited. I told my mother that I was going to spend the rest of my life with this girl. Later, I got my wish. We got married. But I never expected my social anxiety to not get any better. Every time I tried to talk to her, my heart would race and I'd start stammering. I came up with a good solution. And that was to talk as little as possible. She liked watching TV in the living room. To spend more time with her, I forced myself to work overtime every night on my laptop at the living room table. My fingers were always typing, but my eyes would often sneak away from the computer screen to her. I didn't really understand, I just thought she was incredibly cute. Sometimes I couldn't help but watch with her. But then she would turn off the TV and go to bed. Then one day, I suddenly had telepathy. Her mind was always filled with strange thoughts, and what she said was always different from what she was thinking. But I found this version of her to be even more real. Gradually, I found that we were talking more and more. It seemed like my social anxiety had disappeared. Mia says I got the love at first sight story. And she got the love after marriage one. I don't really understand these terms, but I know one thing. Our future will be a long and loving story.